Welcome, everybody. I am Paula Ludwig with the Atlantic Institute. I want to welcome you to our Cuisine of Different Cultures today. The Atlantic Institute is all about having positive dialogues between different faiths, cultures, religion, just getting to know your next door neighbor. And with that being said, I am going to show you a short 2-minute video about the Atlantic Institute and all that we do. There we go.
The Atlantic Institute is a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting harmonious coexistence between peoples of various cultures, faiths, and backgrounds. We seek this goal through peaceful dialogue, education initiatives, and community organization. Our dialogue events bring together experts, community and faith leaders, and knowledge seekers to address social issues that affect us all. We feel dialogue is the most important element in peaceful coexistence, so we try and maintain several panel discussions, TED Talk events, and book clubs throughout the year. These events touch on social issues, race relations, and cultural understanding, and are a mainstay of our programming. The Atlantic Institute's education events are extremely important to our mission of understanding. We want to promote socially forward critical thinking to students of all ages. To that end, we have developed programs that seek to grow the creative spirit of students and help them think about their communities and the world around them. Our Future Leaders of Dialogue event brings together nominated elite students to learn from each other as well as political and business leaders. Our art and essay contest gives students a theme about important societal issues and allows them to create wonderful works of art and writing while steering their minds towards improving their world. We're always seeking ways to educate youths and adults in order to make a peaceful world for all of us. Our community events are designed to transform neighbors into friends and groups of people into a community. By associating with other nonprofits or by our own initiative, we are always trying to discover new avenues to improve our neighborhoods, places of worship, and community centers. We host cooking demonstrations of food from other cultures, work with various nonprofits to help elevate the work of others, and try to find a way to make the lives of those who are disenfranchised or marginalized better. Building a more peaceful world starts in our backyards, so we are dedicated to improving our communities and associations. The Atlantic Institute is always seeking like-minded volunteers and collaborators. If you would like to learn more, find volunteer opportunities, or just want to chat with our staff, please visit our website at www.atlanticinstitutesc.org or follow us on Facebook. We will never run out of fun, educational, peaceful events, so come join us to help make this world a better place full of understanding and unity.
All right. Actually stopped it before it went into an ad. So I am now going to turn this over to our instructor. I want to thank Candace for doing this for us today. And we are going to do corn and okra salad. I'm so excited. I think it's the perfect time of the year to do this at the end of the season. And it's all yours, Candace.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be cooking with everyone, especially late summer, because I believe next week we're going into fall. So this is the perfect time to make a corn and okra salad. And we've got our seasonal produce, corn, okra, obviously. That's the most bioavailable nutrients that we can retain as it being seasonal produce. So we're definitely going to make an amazing dinner or side dish or whatever you want to do with this. So before I get started, my name is Candace Dorsey. I am a nutritionist and personal trainer, and I also have a cookbook, so the Nourish Cookbook. And actually tomorrow we are cooking out of the cookbook. So if you found that this was very helpful and you love this style of cooking, definitely I'll put information in the link below for a cooking class on this. But I love batch cooking. It's super easy, super simple. This recipe is not far from it. I'm all about less ingredients, less time in the kitchen, more time for you to enjoy with your friends and family and things of that nature. So as far as my nutrition platform, that's pretty much what I do. It's a whole foods, nutrient dense whole foods diet. So that's just pretty much my philosophy. And, you know, if you ever need nutrition services or helpful tips on cooking or recipes, I have my website and I'll link everything below at the end. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to switch you over to a chopping view. So right here, we've got my cutting board with all the produce, and then luckily because it is summer, we don't want to turn the oven on, right? Because it can get hot in here really fast. So luckily we're just using one burner for this. So if you're cooking with me, we're going to start off with prepping the produce. So there are multiple ways that you can do with the corn. Obviously, you can go the canned route, right? You can get fresh corn, can it, and then discard the liquid. But for me, I just had some fresh corn on the cob. So before this class, I went ahead and boiled a couple of cobs. So now I'm just chopping the corn off the husk. Now there is a cool method that you can do if you worry about the kernels coming off the board. There's in the South, we call it the pound cake method, where you put the stalk right in the pound cake, the tin, and then you can cut down, and then the excess corn and the kernels will be catched in the butt pan. I don't have one with me, but if you had one, you can definitely do that if you're not using a can for this. So I'm just cutting up some produce. We've got corn, we've got tomatoes, green onions, and bell pepper, and then okra. So I am done taking the corn off the husk of that. And I'm going to go ahead and heat up my pan. So I'm just going to warm it up before I add the olive oil into it. Just so that is a tip if you're using a pan like this, because sometimes a lot of people have problems of the food sticking to the pan. So we're just going to allow some heat to that, and then we're going to start on the other produce. So luckily tomatoes, I've already got a can, so I will just get that going. Then I've got green onions and bell pepper. So I'm chopping up my bell pepper. I'm going to go at both ends. And I don't like to I like to use every bit of my produce as possible. So for bell pepper, what I usually do is I cut right down, and then I open it up, and then I just use my knife to slowly come underneath and get the meat and some of that excess off. And obviously you can use that too. But I really want this to be a good crisp salad. So I'm just discarding that and the seeds. And then I'm going to use the top and bottom of the bell pepper. So I'm just going to chop that up. Think of the salad that you want nice and bite-sized pieces, right? Because this is a salad. We want texture, but we want to make sure that we don't have a giant bell pepper in our mouth, right? We just want to make sure we've got equal amounts of all ingredients. And I'm just going to cut down on the bell pepper, and I hear my pan heating up. So as soon as I find a stopping point, I'm going to go ahead and add some olive oil to it. I also find that it's helpful to, when cutting a pepper, you obviously want to make sure that you're having a kitchen grade knife. You want something really sharp, because if not, if you got blunt edges, if you got a blunt knife, it's a hazard. It's a safety hazard for sure. So I love cutting the end part instead of the outer part down. I'm cutting the inner part down because it's just easier to cut through. All right, so we got peppers already chopped up nicely and evenly. I'm going to go ahead and add some oil to this. So for this salad, I'm going to use extra virgin olive oil. Add about a tablespoon of that into the pan. Let that warm up. Go ahead, and now that the pan is warm, it's so easy to glide the oil around to get it fully coated. Okay, so pretty much I've got things that I can just go ahead and throw into the skillet. So I'm going to go ahead and add these green peppers in here. Love that sound. That sizzle is my favorite. Okay, then I can add the corn. I actually like that I'm cutting from the husk because it gives it a rustic look in the salad. So I've got some pieces which will automatically, once we start mixing, will break apart. And then also we've got some green onions. So while that's cooking, I'm actually going to open up my can of tomatoes. Now I got the organic fire roasted. Personally, I love anything with a little dimension to it. So if I'm getting tomatoes, I'm going to opt for fire roasted. And I think in this situation, it's going to pair perfectly because it kind of reminds me of a summer grilling out. So I'm going to go ahead and add this in here. And there's not too much sauce, excess sauce. There's a tomato juice. That's fine because once it cooks down, especially with, with produce, it starts to sweat, right? So this is going to cook up really nicely. So I'm just going to give this a stir. Just toss that in there. And I've got this on medium-high heat. I'm not sure if I said that. So I'm going to let that cook, and then I'm going to start mincing some green onion. So I'm just going to take the white parts off. And then from white to the dark, I'm going to go ahead and chop. And sorry if I'm a left-handed. I know it probably looks weird, me chopping with using my left hand, but that is what it is. Green onion is also good to garnish, but I know because we don't have a garlic or onion element into this, it's nice to cook this in with the other produce.
Candace, can you move your can? It's right in the view.
Oh yeah, thank you for catching that.
Thank you. And actually, you being left-handed is kind of nice because people can see what's being cut rather than the reversed. So it actually is pretty cool.
Oh, thank you. I never noticed that. I feel like I'm always having to like make it like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a left-handed, or, because I'm usually inconveniencing someone if they're teaching me how to do something. It's like, sorry, I'm left-handed. You have to teach me that,
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So that's cooking down. I'm going to go ahead and add the green onion. And this already smells amazing. Now that we've applied some heat to it, it's opening up those flavors. It smells so good in here. It's also very colorful, so love that for summer. I'm gonna go ahead and let that keep cooking. Okay, so while we got that, let's go ahead and start chopping up some okra. So I love okra. I live in Northeast Georgia, right by South Carolina. So we have an abundance of okra. And on my blog, I have I personally love it. It's a shrimp and grits, but I have fried okra that I cook in coconut oil. So I show healthy ways to spruce up Southern dishes. So this is a Southern dish. I don't really have to change it much because it's a salad, right? So it's already healthy by default because we're just using seasonal produce. But I do have a lot of Southern dishes on my website, one being shrimp and grits, where we showcase okra, and it's amazing. I make that once a year. I don't replicate too many or repeat too many recipes just because I'm always cooking new ones. But that one is definitely my favorite. So if you want more okra recipes and you find like, oh, I've never had it before, it's awesome. And even with this salad, if you had, I promote just in and out, right? Just want something fast, flavorful, tastes really good, that doesn't take much work. A fun method of this salad is if we cook them on its own, like fried them up, pan fried them in coconut oil, or even breaded them in I'm gluten-free and I promote gluten-free. So I would have breaded them in maybe an almond flour, gluten-free flour blend or something, and then cook them in coconut oil. So that is fun, and it could be crispy into the salad, which would be good as a garnish. So there's multiple things that you can do with okra. Some people are apprehensive about the sliminess about, so if that's the case, I would definitely pan fry them. But if you just love that flavor of okra, this is what we're going to do with a salad. We're literally just going to add the fresh okra into the pan that's already cooking down with the tomatoes, green onions, and so forth. So I think that's a good bet for this salad. And I use a good about 1 to 2 cups. What I love about salad is if I love corn, right? Or I love okra, go ahead and do more of that if you wanted to. This salad has got a good blend of everything. We've got even amounts of each ingredient. But if you really love it, or you've got a lot of okra, from a friend that she had from her garden or whatnot, go ahead and use it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and mix the okra in here. This is the last bit of our produce. We're going to reserve the lemon juice and cilantro as garnish. And this is still going to cook down. So we're going to cook this down for another 3 to 4 minutes. And while we do that, I'm going to season it. Luckily, the fire roasted can has some flavor, right? Because they're fire roasted. So you've got a good heat element. But it's all about salt and pepper for me. If you wanted to add different things like garlic powder, onion powder, something like that, go for it. But I'm all about some good old-fashioned salt and pepper, because if you're using seasonal produce, then that corn and all is going to be so full-bodied in flavor because you're doing it in season. And if that's the case, the okra is going to be a flavor bomb of okra taste, So you don't have to go crazy in seasonings. It can be very simple. I'm going to add some black pepper in here. This smells amazing. The tomato sauce has already been cooked down, and I'll show that. Because that also depends on your salad. If you don't want it too soggy, just let it cook down some more. Because the okra is going to get a little mushy, right? And really how long you want depends. So I love some crunch. If you wanted to wait a little until those green peppers were cooking down a little so they weren't as crunchy, because those can get really pretty crunchy. I love a crisp. I love a crispy salad. I love texture. You can continue to cook it down. I would just say if that was the case, if you wanted to cook this a little longer, to not be messing around with it as much so that it's not going to get mushy, because we want to have those flavor. We want the okra to look like the circular okra. We want to make sure it doesn't look too mushy, because I'm also about presentation and texture. So I'm going to let that cook, and I'm going to wash my pan a little, or my cutting board. Just because okra does have a slimy, it leaves some slime. I don't know how to explain it, but that congeal, that pectin, I believe, is in okra. It will get on your cutting board. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my acid, my lime, and my cilantro. I'm going to toss this in some more. Oh, this smells so good. Okay. I like that the way it is, and I'm actually going to show you real quick. I'm going to take my charger off because we're good. So I'm going to walk you over. If only you could smell this, why haven't they created laptop,
Smell-o-vision.
right? You need to have like a a sniff and touch or a sniff and smell kind of thing, but it smells amazing.
It looks amazing.
Yes. And
Yes.
it's so simple.
Now, I have a quick question for you. Can
Huh?
you eat raw okra? Like, do you have to cook okra?
Good question. I believe you can. It's just, and I like actually pickling them. So speaking of, I pickled. You can have raw. I don't like the taste of raw okra, but if you do, go for it. I don't think it's going to hurt you. But don't quote me on that. But pickling is another fun way of
Okay.
like a fun cooking method with okra, and I love pickling them. And what I also like to do is after I'm done with the okra, then I'll put carrot sticks in here because in that brine, when it tastes good and those flavors marrying with the past okra, some
And
garlic.
do you think your pickled okra would go good in this recipe?
Yes. Look at you. See?
I'm just thinking of the flavors you have in there, and usually pickling involves like you probably have a vinegar and a lot of salt or something in your pickling. And so I'm just thinking of the flavors you would have in there. And I think that your pickled okra would be almost as good as the raw. So that you could use it off season when okra isn't in season kind of thing.
Yes, that is so smart and so good. Because if you think about it, like we're hitting it, we're garnishing with a lime, that's an acid.
Yes.
You're pickling, that's an acid. So that's so good because you're getting that full flavor of everything once you hit it with that. It's kind of like when you do desserts and you like cookies and you add sea salt flakes to it, it enhances that chocolate and that baked item. It's so good. So it's like the acid to a savory dish.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, I'll bring you down. So I turned off the heat because I think this is pretty good. And you can taste as you go. I love taste testing. You could also, I didn't even mention with the corn because it is the summer. You could grill the corn. You could grill the okra, the tomatoes, anything like that. Just as we were talking about pickling, there's so many methods on how to incorporate these produce into a salad. So I'm taking that off the heat. I'm going to go ahead and fun thing too. I'm going to go ahead and actually plate because we can actually zest. I'm all about using your produce and using all of it in the best capacity that you can. So I'm going to reserve that. Put that to the side. I'm going to go ahead and get my platter. And I'm just going to sit here. It's just me, so it just looks like a dinner party for myself. But that's okay.
I'll be right there, Candace.
You come over, girl.
It only take me 3 hours, but I'll be there.
I won't promise you I would eat it all by the time you get here.
I'll send Christina to taste test then.
Exactly. That's funny. I might as well put the whole thing. Because that is right. I'll have Christina. I'll make her a like a little to-go box, a doggy bag.
Oh.
There we go. All right. So now we've got this beautiful salad, corn and okra. And now we're going to start having fun. So let's start garnishing, right? Cheeses. You can do Parmesan. You can do cotija or cotija. I'm sorry if I'm saying any of that wrong, but I have feta. And you could also do goat cheese, but I'm just going to add some crumbles onto the top. And this is honestly good because it's hot. So it's going to melt a little, which is fun. So I'm just going ahead and crumble that over. Just like that. Oh, love some cheese. Okay. And then I've got some cilantro. And I love having my herbs in like a mason jar with some water so that it can last longer in the fridge. because a lot of times when we get a bunch of cilantro at the grocery store, we may use maybe a third of it, a half of it, so forth. Today we're only using a small bit because we're garnishing. So that's why I love putting my herbs in a mason jar, because I'm going to use that for tomorrow. And that way it's still fresh. So I'm going to chiffon it, and that's just rolling the cilantro up, and then I'm going to slice, ribbon cutting, just like that, and then do a little quick dice, little chop, and then garnish over the salad. Oh, so beautiful, so pretty. Okay, the very last bit is our lime. So to make this even more beautiful, if it's not already beautiful enough, let me take this back and bring this forward. I'm going to go ahead and zest. And zesting is so, I love it. I do this with lemon. If I'm using a lemon into a recipe, you can automatically smell it. It's kind of like, I used to be a mixologist, and so when I used to do lemon style cocktails, just doing that aromatic just automatically sets you into that tone, sets you into that cocktail you're drinking. And it's the same thing with a salad. You like, as soon as you take the bite, you're not even taking the bite, you're smelling the lime, and that already makes you salivate, and you're ready to just dive into it. So I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just putting a little bit in there, just over the top. It just gives you more flavor, because you can't have enough flavor, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and chop up this lime. Let's see. And then you can have some reserved on the side, and that's great for, if you're hosting some friends, go ahead and put some to the side. And then I'm going to reserve this and go over just like that. And this is so great before serving, so if you want to add this to the salad and then you're saving this, that's why I love having extra lime, because I am a citrus person by default. So again, if you know that about yourself, go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, if you really wanted to get fancy, because a background of my my nutrition business, I used to be a recipe developer and food photographer, is presentation. So if you wanted to, you can use a napkin, and you're just dampening the liquid, and that's just the liquid coming off from the tomato juice. And you can do that. Again, you don't have to. That's just if you really was trying to, impress somebody or whatnot, or you have a flatter platter and you're worried that the excess liquid is going to come off. So that's the only thing. But other than that, this is perfect. And we didn't have much, actually, because I cooked it down pretty well. But that is your corn and okra salad. There you go. All right. Well, that is it. Does anybody have any questions, or when they were making it, did you have any questions when chopping up certain things or adding things to the pan? I would love to know.
So there were no questions while we were making it. Does anybody have any questions now? It looks really, really good. I can't wait to make it. And super simple, easy, like you said, like just, cutting up your vegetables, putting them in. Like you said, corn doesn't have to come off the cob. You can do a canned corn if it's out of season. I don't know. They don't have canned okra though. That would probably be just a slime in a can, I'm thinking. But the pickled okra would be a good substitute for off-season time, I think. I think it would give it a slightly different flavor, so you're not, eating the same salad all year. But I think it would be really good. But
yeah, I'm right there with you. And when you said that, I was like, oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah, it just sounds good. I use pickled vegetables for different kinds of salad recipes, and the brininess and the taste of the vegetable just gives it a whole different flavor. And so sometimes it's really good. Any questions, anybody? All right. Well, I'm gonna let you all go back to this beautiful day. At least here in South Carolina, it's a nice, beautiful day, just in the 80s, which is breathable. I want to thank Candace. Thank you very much, Candace. Put your information in the chat so people can see it. That would be great. Also, say it out loud so that when people watch the video, they can then find it as well.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for giving me this time to cook this salad for you guys. I hope you enjoy it when you make this at home. My business name is From the Roots, and so on the website and social media handles, it's fromtherootsblog.com, and Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok and Pinterest, it's the @ sign From the Roots blog. So those are my handles for that as well. And my Nourish cookbook is on there, the services that I offer. I also do, I forgot to mention, because I have this tomorrow, a meal plan membership where you can pay once it's a monthly subscription where we literally cook. This is what we do. We cook once a month virtually. I send out a meal plan with a prep guide. So everything's there listed, grocery list, and all you have to do is show up for an hour or two. You can watch a recording if you are not able to make it on Sunday, because I know that people are very busy. And then the weeks that we're not cooking together, I have meal plans already sent out and nutritional resources and things of that nature. So yeah, I'll go ahead and add everything in here in the comment section. And if you want to reach out for nutrition services or anything like that, please don't hesitate. Okay.
Thank you again, Candace.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Awesome. All right, I am going to stop recording now.